Rewind Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Lori.
Well, how was your week?
Oh, my week was good.
Good.
My week was good. School's done.
Woohoo!
Joe passed everything.
That's to be that. What else can you ask for?
I'm not asking for anything else.
What else?
That's
Yeah.
it. He's going on to 12th grade.
Oh my God. And
Your kid
even he
passed.
was like, I can't believe I just finished my junior year. I'm like,
Me neither.
me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. For more reasons than you could ever imagine.
Only really one. Well, wait. Won't he be driving soon? He gonna drive to school? No,
2
that
weeks.
don't mean he's going to get
2
up
weeks
by
he gets
himself.
his
I
license.
was
Plus the whole basketball thing. That was good
I was
news,
just trying to think about
so-
you sleeping late
Oh, I'm sleeping in late now.
because now he's got a ride.
Oh, I still got...
Oh no, for the summer. No, but I mean
For the
next year.
summer. No, next year. He won't get up by himself.
I know it's horrible.
He talks about going away to college. I'm like, really? Because who's going to wake you up?
Yeah, who's going to wake you up?
Who's going to wake you up, boo?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Who's going to check you, boo?
Yes, exactly it.
Whatever.
All right. So we are going to do some Would You Rathers. That
Only two. So
two's
if you
good.
want another one,
two's
you gotta
good,
look
Laura.
it
What
up.
we got?
No, we're
it's
good
just,
with
it's
two.
just that kind of week. Now, one is okay and one is really bad. So it's just letting you know right
So just so you know, before we even do the Would You Rathers, we're talking about the TikTok dancers and the whole Netflix series. It was a 3-part series about dancing for the devil. Mm-hmm. And the management company M7. So that's what we're going to
7M.
okay, so 7M.
Okay.
Or M7. Or 7M. And Shekinah Church.
Yeah. The TikTok dance
The TikTok
cult.
dance cult. So that's what we're talking about. So let's do the Would You Rathers have to do with that, I hope?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
No, but I just read the second one.
They're
I can't-
absolutely witless.
Okay.
Don't read it. Just let her...
I can't see that
Yeah,
far.
let her...
Okay, you tell me.
I want you to hear it, and I want to see your reaction.
Okay, let's hear our Would You Rathers.
The second one.
I
All right,
thought
let's
they
go
had
with the
something
first
to
one.
do with what we were discussing,
Nope.
but apparently they do not.
Nope. Totally.
Sometimes we're on, sometimes we're not.
Listen,
Totally witless and random is what they
even
are.
my 8 pages of notes can't help us.
That's right. Okay.
They're
So,
going to try, though.
would you rather be a ninja or a pirate?
A ninja or a pirate? Okay, well, since I have a broken pelvis, I'm going to go with a pirate because I think you need to be a little nimble to be a ninja.
There you go.
And I'm kind of an R matey anyway.
I'm going to go ninja. I just
Okay.
want to be able to kick someone's ass when I
like
want
it.
to.
I'm going pirate because I have a really good Halloween pirate
You
costume
do?
that I do rock the shit out of. So
Okay.
You
I'm
do.
I'm going with
Listen,
pirate.
I like to wear all black anyway. The ninja
Ninja's
just
your thing.
fits.
That's
right.
your
It just
jam.
fits.
That's your jam.
Yeah,
That's right.
And I just want to be able to kick the shit out of whoever I want.
There you go. Okay. Would you rather sit on a cake and eat dick?
What? Wait, what? Wait, back that shit up. Say it again.
Would you rather sit on a cake and eat dick or sit on a dick and eat a cake?
I'm going to go with neither.
I'm just...
Oh, I'm going number 2 all the way.
Yeah, I'm going number 2 also.
Number 2 is sit on a cake.
No.
No.
What was number 2?
2 is sit on the dick and eat a cake.
No, I'm sorry. No,
You don't want to sit on a cake and eat a dick either?
I don't want to do either. Sorry.
That was the reaction I was expecting.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
know. I don't
Never
know.
expected that would you rather question
No,
in
I
a
don't know.
million years.
It was the last minute. Let me just slap these 2 in there.
I think
Yeah.
it's fucking amazing.
Well, there you go.
No.
I love the question and I love the reaction.
There
Nope,
you go.
Nope,
Okay.
not doing either.
There you go. There you
And I can
go.
assure you from now on, Wendy will be choosing the would you rather.
Quite certain that would not be left in my capable,
Now, listen,
nimble hands.
it's a beautiful job you did on this.
No, listen. Sometimes I can't.
You have to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, sometimes you can't do it all.
So about this cult.
Dancing for the Devil, episode 1, part 1 is called Die to Yourself. And that kind of says it all with the title. When I first watched, so a little preface to this. I watched this whole docuseries, the 3 parts. And then this week, Kelly texted me, oh, let's watch this. And I was like, oh, okay, but I watched it already, but I didn't take notes. So
And I didn't watch it.
And Wendy always has to take
watch
notes.
it. So I watched it twice and
8 pages of notes.
I apologize. Normally I'm very good.
okay.
But this week got to me.
And my notes, let me just show you. I wish I could just put this in front of the camera because it is
we'll post
absolute.
them.
Yeah, we'll
We will
post them.
post Lori's notes.
Absolute madness.
We'll post
Scribbled
Lori's
down.
notes. And
It looks like Mike the Situation's boards when he's trying to figure out.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
me.
Yes, the situation boards, yes.
Yeah.
And my notes will be our description, and it will be, what we discussed.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts out with the Wilking sisters, Melanie and Miranda. They're two sisters, and they are dancing. They dance together. They're TikTok
Does it say
dancers.
where they're from?
They're from Michigan.
Okay.
They are from Michigan, and we first hear about. This is another one of those docuseries that jumps all over the place, and
Well, I think most.
I don't like that. I
You don't
want
like that?
everything in
See, that
chronological
doesn't-
order.
That
Yeah.
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, the
bothers
OCD in me bothers me. So it starts out in February 2022. So at that point, they're no longer allowed to contact Miranda, her family, Melanie, and her parents. And they're blocked on everything. It's Miranda's birthday. That's how it starts. It's Miranda's birthday in February 2022. So they are a part of the Shekinah Church. And
So then they go back and tell the story of how. Okay.
yeah, so then they go back.
So what happens is there was this guy,
Robert Shinn,
Robert Shinn,
the founder of the church.
right? And he was from Canada. And at one time,
And
I
a
guess
doctor.
he was going to medical school and he became a doctor. But then all of a sudden he decided, and what he says happened, he says that God called him.
Right. He became a man of God.
To start a ministry. And he goes to California.
Mm-hmm.
So now when he goes to California, he sets up this church. And what he does is he does all this outreach to the Korean population that has immigrated to the United States. So Korean Americans that don't necessarily have a lot of contacts here, a lot of family, and he sets up this church as a kind
I
of
wonder why he chose that
because I think he's Korean.
ethnic group.
I think he's Korean.
Oh,
Korean. He's
yeah,
got some
Robert
Korean.
Shinn.
He's got some
Understood,
Korean in him.
understood.
So he sets up.
He's
this,
Asian for sure. I don't
Yeah.
know if he's specifically Korean, but he's
Korean,
definitely
right.
of Asian descent.
Got it.
But he decides that he's going to go for this Korean American community and set up this church and do all this outreach. So he starts to get all these members. This was, I have dates, but this was, way before this happened with these two sisters.
Yeah. So in 2017, Miranda. No, that's not the right Miranda. So the Lee sisters, Priscilla and Melanie Lee, were the first kind of members of this church before there was the 7M media. They were the early on Korean sisters who were born in Korea. The father left the mother in Korea, and the mother and the two girls moved to the United States. And the mother worked nights, and she slept during the day, and she was an alcoholic, and she would disappear. So Priscilla was the older of the two sisters of Priscilla and Melanie Lee. She was kind of the mother figure, and she was very protective over Melanie. So Melanie and her went to school together, and then Melanie found this church, the Shekinah Church. Mm-hmm. And she was going to this church, and she felt like she belonged there because it was a family, in Korea, they were very religious. They're Christian.
Yeah.
They're a Christian religion. And she felt that community there. And she was taken in by this church. The sister of Robert Shinn, the founder of this church, was Catherine Shinn. Catherine Shinn had 3 daughters, and she took in Melanie as her 4th daughter. And she felt very accepted by this church. So once Melanie started going to this church, she invited her sister, her older sister, Priscilla, to go to the church also. And Priscilla was very hesitant, but her soft spot was her sister. So it kind of goes back and forth between Priscilla and Melanie Lee and Miranda and Melanie Wilking. So Miranda and Melanie Wilking were sisters who were dancing and doing TikTok dancing. And in 2017, Miranda went, after she graduated high school, she went...
These are them?
No, that's Melanie and Priscilla on the
this
screen
is
behind
Melanie
it.
and Priscilla.
They were the first ones that were in the church. So
Okay.
by 2022, Priscilla finally got out, which we'll hear about this a little bit later on. She had been in there for 23 years at this point. Her sister Melanie got out 11 years prior.
And what year did this church start?
So this church started in 1994.
Oh,
So the timeline is this: 1994. He forms this church for Korean Americans,
And they were one of the first.
and these two girls.
When Melanie first started going to the church, there was 15 members of the church, and that included Robert Shinn's family and his sister's family, Catherine.
Yes.
And
So that's probably
her.
all it was. And
Right,
then
that's
her.
all it was. And then it started to grow. And as it started to grow, they started to make some changes and they started to open up these businesses. And then they started to live there. And then Catherine, the sister, was overseeing them. And Melanie and her sister Priscilla were at one point living together, but then they were moving their houses every 6 months. And then all of a sudden they were separated.
See, so what happens is this guy sets up this church and
Robert Shinn.
and does all these different businesses. And what he does with the businesses is he has his church members work the businesses. So they work the businesses and they give over all their financial information and everything, bank accounts, to him. Not only does he do that, he also sets up housing. So it's a big draw for these people who are coming over as
Overseas, right.
immigrants, Korean Americans, because now he's offering them somewhere to live, he's offering them a job, and he's offering them a church all in one.
Right.
So then what happens is one of the sisters leaves, and the other one stays in the church and is in the church until the time now when we come up to where the story starts, which is with these
2022.
other two sisters,
The Wilking sisters.
who are TikTok like dance phenomenon, because when the pandemic hit,
Right, that's
TikTok
what
and
these kids
dance
did.
really took off.
So did he seek them out?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is what happened. This whole thing starts with a clown. Okay.
Wait, what?
Yep. I watched this guy. It was such a great video on YouTube. Kyle Anderson is his name to him. Shout out to him. What a great video he made. He said, in this whole saga is Meghan Markle, Ninja Sheep, and clowns. So the way the clowns tie in is there was this clown that used to go out into the neighborhood in Compton, and it was during like the time of the Compton riots, and he would go out and he had this thing where you could rent Tommy the Clown. So he actually started this movement, this dance movement called clowning.
I remember that.
So during the riots, at the same time, it's a juxtaposition. There's my word.
Oh, there it is.
She loves that word.
I love that word. So at the time of
does
just
love
to
that
give you
word.
a time frame, at the time of the riots, there was this clown going around. He would do all these kids parties. He would do all this community outreach, teach kids to dance, and it became like this kind of dance movement.
Okay.
So you'd see like clowns dancing around Compton in the shitty neighborhoods.
But that was crumping.
Nope, that was before crumping.
Okay.
So first there was clowning, and then clowning turned into crumping via this person called I thought his name was Tie-Dye, but I think it's Tight Eyes, a dancer.
Okay.
And he kind of became the face of this dance
Crumping.
movement called crumping, which crumping was this guy Tie-Dyes. He came up with this dance form that was an extension of clowning, became crumping. So it was these really fast jerking dance movements, but he attributed the crumping as a religious experience.
Right.
Okay.
So it was very tied in to God.
Right.
Okay.
So
That
this
is true.
this
Yes.
so this person Tie-Dyes was also friends with
B-dash.
this other dancer B-dash and this other dancer Concrete. And all three of them were in a cult before 7M. Before 7M.
Okay.
So,
But they didn't know that they were in a cult.
know. No one knows they're in a cult.
They didn't know they were in a cult.
Right. Typically, you don't really know.
Right.
Typically,
They
you
didn't
don't.
know that they were in a cult.
Okay.
And that all happened around, so Miranda graduated high school in 2016. Then Melanie, and she went out to LA. Then her sister Melanie in 2017 moved to California after she graduated high school to be with her sister to do the dancing.
Okay.
And her sister at this point was doing like auditions for, So You Think, all the big places,
Yeah.
like Dancing with the Stars, So You Think You Can Dance. Like she was doing all the big dancing auditions. And the two of them were doing auditions together because they were a sister duo.
Yeah.
And
That's enticing.
they didn't want them to dance together. They didn't want them to be associated together. And they wanted to be together because they were sisters and they were in it together. So at this point, they decided, you know what? This is when TikTok started to become really big. We can do this on social media ourselves, and we can make our own community and start our own dance craze and get our own promotions and get
And they
our
had
own
what, like
endorsement deals.
2 million followers or something
Yes.
at
Yes.
the time that one of the sisters, the one who's still in the cult, met the B-dash person.
So in April of 2019, they
So that's
got
how it-
in April of 2019 they got a DM from B-dash, and he was huge in the Crump community. So the three of them, B-dash, Miranda, and Melanie, were on a group text together for the longest time, and they were collaborating. And all of a sudden, Melanie was out of the group text, and it was just Miranda and B-dash. And they started dating. So they started dating. B-dash and Miranda started dating, and Melanie was kind of out. So B-dash at this point, his real name is James. Okay. B-dash at this point has already been a part of the Shekinah Church.
Now, and the reason he became part of it is because the Shekinah Church, the son of the
Isaiah, was it Isaiah?
Yeah, Isaiah. He is like a producer. So
Right.
he met B-dash, and I'm thinking he met B-dash because I said B-dash had already been in a cult-like situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think after watching all this documentary and thinking about it, I think that Robert Shinn, who is the pastor of the church and the founder of the 7M Entertainment thing, I think that also the son Isaiah and this B-dash knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Because he's been there before, he's done it before.
Right.
He knows exactly
You might not
what
know
it
you're in a
is.
cult the first time.
But the second
time,
time,
I'm pretty sure you know the warning signs.
yeah. So I think he saw the followers that those sisters
For
had.
sure.
But
And
he had
said,
followers too, because he was big in the Crump community. So
Right.
it's not
But
like he
there's
was a
nothing
nobody.
wrong with collaborating with
Right.
somebody else.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, because of his former involvement in a cult-like situation, I'm thinking he knew what was up. And the
Yeah.
fact that they are still there.
Which we don't know that yet. You're jumping ahead.
Well, no, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
supposedly
Supposedly they're still in
there.
it. To
Yeah.
this
They're
day.
still there.
To this day.
They are
Okay.
still there.
Okay.
So Robert Shinn had wanted to be in the entertainment business prior to this. His daughter Chloe and his son Isaiah had tried to do a couple things, and it just wasn't working.
Flopped.
It wasn't working. But then when Isaiah brought in B-dash James and the Wilking one sister, because the other one really didn't want a part of it, he's
Smart
like,
girl.
yeah. He's like, well, maybe we can make this happen, and we'll start a management company, and we will get you jobs, and I'll get you booked on Ellen DeGeneres, and I'll get you a Charmin commercial.
There's the
and,
magic name.
Yep. And then on all these jobs that he's getting them, every week during his sermons, during their service, he's praising these members who are bringing in all this money and how much they're bringing in.
And not only that, he's telling all of them that this is all happening
Because of God.
Because of God through him.
Right. He's bringing them wealth.
He's bringing them
He's
out.
the one, because he is the man of God.
He's the conduit.
He's the man of God, and then he has mentors.
Oh, my goodness.
He has mentors, and some of his mentors are his
It's
sister.
very, very pyramidical.
Yes,
the way it's very like what's it called? Like a pyramid.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's like the
It's-
schemes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But listen, we all go to church, different churches, but we all go to church.
And we're all Christian.
And we're all Christian, but not one of our religious leaders have ever said, like,
Give me your bank account info. No.
Right.
and you're that successful financially because of me.
Right.
Right.
So he creates this 7M, right? He's getting 20% of everything they do as a manager.
Yeah, he started that in 2021.
Right. He's getting
7M.
10% tithes to the church. He's getting 10% man of God fee on top of that.
Man of God,
Yeah, that's what he calls it.
It-
It's
and that's
insanity.
him. All of this money is
That's
going to him.
personal.
So
Yes.
what happens is
And 10% offering. So he's getting 20, 30, 40, 50% just to him. Just to Robert. That's all. He's calling it all different names, but
Yeah,
it's
all
all
different
going
names.
to Robert Shinn.
So do they get the other 50?
No. They
Right.
do not.
Right.
They
no,
do
because what
not.
happens is
They do not.
you have to pay for your housing.
You have to pay for
They
your housing.
provide all your food. You can't
Right.
eat what you want. They provide all your food. Then you got to pay taxes. What happens is they end up making 10%.
Not even. As
That's
a matter of fact,
disgusting.
Priscilla at one point says, and she was there the longest. She left after 23 years. Priscilla said at one point she was getting an allowance of $80 every 2 weeks. So she was literally living off of $40 a week, and she was living in their housing. And his wife Hannah at one point went in and physically assaulted her, tore up her bedroom. This is after 23 years of her being there. And then
Yeah,
she's
because
like,
she probably started seeing the light and was
well,
like,
no,
what the
she
fuck
didn't
is
see the
going
light.
on?
She didn't see the light because honestly, he preys on people who don't have a family and don't have a support system and who are loners. And that's who she was because her father abandoned them in Korea. Her mother was an alcoholic and would disappear. And it was her and her sister.
And then her sister wound up leaving?
Her sister wound up leaving.
Yeah,
She
she
tried to get
escaped.
Priscilla out, and Priscilla said, I'm not going with you. The plan didn't work the way Melanie wanted it to work. Melanie wanted to get her sister out, but the plan didn't work because Melanie had the plan all worked out that her friend, she was allowed to have one friend that was not a part of the church that she went to school with. His name was Marquis. And Marquis was there with her. And all of a sudden, Robert Shinn starts calling in Melanie and saying that you are now going to be, you are going to be my person. Everyone, all the women there were vying to be the woman of God, although he had a wife already. The woman of God is the partner to the man of God, who is Robert Shinn. And what's involved in that is massages and sexual assault. That's what's involved in that. And then all of a sudden, Melanie got a phone call.
So being the woman of God was his side piece?
Yes.
You were to be his side piece.
Yeah, he was
Slash his
like-
wife.
Yes, yeah, like a first, yeah.
But he had a wife.
Right.
But you're allowed to have a mistress.
Right. According to him in the Bible. According to him. So then
crazy town.
Robert Shinn
It's a crazy town.
all of a
This is
sudden
fucked up. I can't
calls
wait
up
to watch
Melanie
this.
and says, I want you to sleep with another member of the church.
Yeah, now he wants you. Now not only he's been sexually assaulting her for years. Now he decides. Now I'm gonna move that shit out. And you're going to start servicing others. So then all of a sudden the wife, like Wendy said, the wife comes in.
No, but before that happens, Melanie says to Robert, how many days do I have to decide?
to decide.
And she says, he says, how many do you need? She goes, I need 10. He goes, you have 3 days. She already had the plan in place that they were going to
10
do
days
it.
from now. She had a plan,
She had the plan
an
in place.
escape plan.
But as soon as that conversation happened, she called up Marquis and said, get me out of here tomorrow. Get me out of here tomorrow. She was going to do it when they were moving because they would move their housing every 6 to 8 months.
They move them to a whole different house
place
with a different roommate.
Right. So she had planned on doing it during the move. But as soon as this phone call happened, she said, Marquis, get me out now. So Marquis showed up, her friend from school. He showed up with a van and a bat. And he pulled into the driveway. She waited for everyone to leave, all the members to leave. And he pulled into the driveway, and all of a sudden, a member pulls up and blocks the driveway. And he's like, what am I going to do? I've got this bat. And he gets out of the car. He's like, I guess this is why I brought the bat, because he didn't really know what he was going to do with the bat. Because this is why I brought. He goes, get the F out of here. And all of a sudden they moved. But at that point, a phone call had already been made.
And she couldn't get the sister.
She couldn't get the sister. So Melanie got in the car.
Even if the sister really wanted to leave, she wouldn't have been able to.
Melanie got in the car and she called her sister immediately. And Priscilla, she said, Priscilla, I'm coming to get you. Priscilla says, I can't leave. I can't leave.
Because they've already made a phone call to her and said,
this these girls?
Yes.
Okay.
And
okay.
yes, and what he would do is he would say to the sister, you can't leave, because if you leave, your sister will go to hell.
Right. You are saving your sister's soul. You need to
If you
stay here to save her soul.
To save her soul.
Right. And at this point, very shortly before this, a bunch of women and Catherine, his sister, had marched into church services, and all these women said that you sexually assaulted me, along with his sister.
His own sister?
His own. Well, she was there standing up for these women.
Right.
Because she was the one who was in charge of these women. And she was there standing up for these women.
Oh,
She was there
not
standing
saying
up.
he
She
sexually assaulted her.
No, but
I'm sorry.
she was there
I'm sorry.
standing up for these women, and she said, you are not a man of God. You need to repent for your sins. So some of these women that showed up, he got up there and said, I am sorry. I am a human. I am a male. I have needs. I am sorry. Some of the women stayed, and some of the women left with the sister. Mm-hmm. And that is when Melanie, shortly after that, is when Melanie came up with the plan that she was going to leave, but then he called her out and said, you've got to sleep with this other guy. And that's when she moved up her plan. So Catherine, his sister, had left. Half of the women had left. And Priscilla, her sister, said, well, all these other women have left and they were running his businesses. He needs me now. And she was there running his businesses. She's like, I cannot leave him now. So then she kind of became his right-hand person.
Oh my God.
After his sister left. Now, this whole time that this is going on, not this whole time, this is early on. Then in 2022, when we start to hear about the Wilking sisters, and Melanie, the one that's out of it, her sister Miranda, who's in it, winds up marrying this guy, James B. They find out about it on Instagram or on TikTok that they got married. They are not letting her talk to her family. Her family decides enough is enough. We've tried to get her out of this. They flew out to California. They tried to see her. They would not. Robert Shinn would not let them see her. So they go on and they do a live and they tell the whole story about what's happening. And then the other dancers that are there, Kevin, Kaylee, who are the other dancers? There's 4 other dancers. Kevin, Kaylee, Kylie, and Aubrey. These are the other big TikTok dancers with big followings. They see what's going on and they see this live TikTok and they start to put things together. Like, wait a second, this is what's happening to me. They're taking all my money and they didn't really realize what was going on.
Right.
And Robert at this point says in his service, like, either you're with me or you're against me. Like, this is what God is saying. Either you're with me or you're against me. Kevin and Kaylee, Kevin had a son, and Robert said to him, the first episode is die to yourself. What die to yourself means is that you die to your family. You are no longer a part of your family. Oh. And he said to Kevin, who had a son, like a 2-year-old son, you need to die to your son. And then this whole thing comes out about the Wilking sister. The parents come out and they say what's happening. He's like, I can't do this. This is my son.
Right.
So 4 of them leave at this point. 4 of them completely leave. And that's Kevin, Kaylee, Kylie, and Aubrey. And they were part of this whole dance team. And they had millions of followers. And they were making money. But they weren't seeing it.
Right.
And they didn't even think that was a thing at the time, to be quite honest with you. They weren't worried about the money of it. But they were like, oh my God, I'm in a cult.
Right.
And Kevin's like, I'm embarrassed to even say I was in a cult. Like, I'm a smart person. How did I get a part of this? Yeah. So then after the Wilking parents start bringing this to light, they contact the police and they're like, how how do we get our daughter Miranda out of this? Like, what can we do? And the police like, well, there's nothing illegal.
She's choosing to be there.
There's nothing
Yep,
illegal.
she's an adult.
She's an
and
adult.
There's
nothing illegal that's
probably
happening.
signed contracts, and that's
another thing he made them do. He made them all sign NDAs.
Of course he did.
About he made them sign NDAs.
Of course he did.
And she's not being held against her will, so there was nothing illegal. So what the police tell the parents, the Wilking parents, is like, you need to just keep in contact with her, and when she's ready, you need to be there for her when she's ready to get out of this. And they were following that for a while, and then they're like, all of a sudden, they're like, this isn't working. And that's when they go on the live. And that's when things start to move. And then Robert Shinn gets very angry because all of a sudden they're losing jobs. They had jobs to do. These dancers had jobs to do all these things, like be on the Ellen DeGeneres show, to do these other dance contracts.
Right. And then people wanted to cut ties because they don't want to be affiliated with that.
Exactly. And now he's getting mad. So now he says, okay, we're going to change our plan. You need to now contact your family. Now you need to contact your family.
Because we need to show the world like everything is okay.
Is okay.
So this girl, she contacts her family.
Miranda.
And says, we can have a relationship, but don't bring up anything about
the cult.
Don't bring it up. Mm-hmm. So the family has contact with her, but not any kind of true contact.
Right.
Are they seeing her?
Well, they're seeing her, but it's on her terms, and it's very limited. And, we all know as parents, like, this is your kid.
Oh.
You want to take whatever you can get.
Of course.
So at this point, they start contacting other people, and they wind up contacting this guy, Reno's, Nick Reno, his parents. So Nick Reno is another one of the dancers, and they contact Nick Reno's parents and tell them what's happening. And they're like, oh my God, the same thing is happening with us, like our son. They didn't know that this was something that was going on.
Right.
So then they meet with the Renos, and they kind of discuss a plan, and they talk to the police, and they're like, we just got to go on. And then they do a little bit more investigating, and then they find out about Melanie Lee, who had been there a long time ago. And they reach out to Melanie. And in 2022, when this came out, Melanie had already left. She'd been out for 11 years. And the first thing she thought is, what is going on with my sister, Priscilla? I have not talked to my sister. Like, what is going on? So she was very worried about her sister. She was reaching out to her sister, Priscilla. Priscilla didn't decide to leave until it got really bad for her. And Hannah, his woman of God, his wife at the time, kicked the shit out of her, trashed her room, and Robert stood by her and said that this is the right thing. And she said, that's it, I'm out.
This is Priscilla.
This is Priscilla.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is after she'd been there for 23 years.
Right.
So she leaves.
And even after her sister left, she decided to stay.
Right.
Yep.
Because she was saving her sister's soul, because Robert said her sister was going to hell, and she was the only one that could save her sister's soul. So she leaves after 23 years, and now she's suicidal because she doesn't know anything different. Mm-mm. So she's listening to his sermons because she has them on recordings, and she is, every day, she's just trying to stay alive, and she's not in a place to even contact her sister because she doesn't even want to be here on this planet.
So Priscilla and Melanie are not in contact?
Not initially.
Okay.
And
But
not initially.
but they are now.
Okay.
Now, yes,
But they are now.
not initially, but then they do finally get in contact. Melanie has since had a child, which is Priscilla's niece, and she's having a party for her daughter. And Priscilla says she's going to show up and she's going to be there, but she shows up late. And Melanie's upset with her, and she's like, this is your niece. And Priscilla's like, listen, I don't even want to be alive. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I am
right.
a dysfunctional human being, and she recognizes what's going on with herself, but she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, like, I just lived the past 20-something years of my life in a fucking hellhole. Like,
Right.
let me
Right.
adapt.
Yeah. So remember in the beginning I said Meghan Markle, Ninja
Yeah.
Sheep and Clowns. Okay, so Meghan Markle comes in because remember when we said early on Robert Shinn and his son Isaiah tried out some films and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of them was some real shit film that Meghan Markle was in. Okay, so
Not surprising.
Ninja Sheep comes in because there's this thing called the Seven Mountains. So it's a Christian movement where the doctrine is that there's 7 mountains. One of them is arts and entertainment. One of them is government. One is politics, whatever it is.
Right.
All these different areas.
Right.
They feel that each of those mountains, each of those areas at the top of the mountain, the CEO of a company or whatever should be a Christian. So you should conquer, the 7 mountains should be conquered. And every important element in life should be a person in charge who is a Christian. Hence, 7M.
Got it.
But 7M, the company by Robert Shinn, insists that they have nothing to do with the 7 mountains. They are 7 millennium is what the M stands for. It doesn't stand for 7 mountain. So the ninja sheep come in because that's what those type of people are called. They're the person who ends up as the CEO of a company, and you don't know that they're like a fanatical Christian until they're already in that position.
Right.
And they want to change all the stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's where the ninja sheep comes in. And then the clowns, we already discussed the clowns.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just bizarre. It's a bizarro story.
It's
honestly, it's very bizarre. And the bottom line is it's very sad because these are real people, young people with bright futures ahead of them who are still to this day a part of this cult. After this documentary came out on Netflix, Miranda's putting out all these videos saying this is not true. She's not a part of a cult.
But they all sound very scripted, and like they're saying that their emails aren't even their emails.
It's not their words.
Their texts aren't even their texts.
These aren't words that they would say.
I mean, but look at what we found out about the Ashley Madison thing with the bots. Like,
Yep.
And now it turns out, remember I told you.
I feel like we're living in the Truman Show, I swear.
Yes, we are. That initially that B Dash and the other kid Concrete and the other kid Tight Eyes, they were in a cult previous to 7M. And that guy actually did time in Oregon State Prison for rape and sex abuse.
Which guy?
Whoa.
This is the gentleman. His name was
I wouldn't call him a gentleman.
David Gerling.
Oh, yeah, David Gurley.
He was from PhD Ministries.
Yes.
So that was the first cult
Right.
that those boys were involved.
Right.
And now this one, this 7M, is the second, which what makes me say that I think that this B Dash is totally in on it. He's totally
fool me
in on it.
once,
He's young,
shame on
though.
me. Fool me twice.
I mean, but
Yeah,
he's
come
a
on.
young guy. He's a young guy. I don't even like. He doesn't have family. There's no family looking for him, and that's the whole thing. B Dash James is a black male. Miranda is a white female. She was a brunette. Then all of a sudden, she cut her hair short and she turned to blonde. And then she married him. And Robert Shinn big thing was, they're being racist because he's black and she's white.
Right,
Then all
he
of a sudden
tried to play that
they
card.
bring that race card into
Oh,
it.
about her parents?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Robert
yes.
Shinn tried to say that's
Yes,
the
that's
parents'
why her
problem.
parents are putting this video out there, and that's
No,
why
they
her parents.
they want their fucking daughter back.
Right, right.
Oh my god.
So both that Tight Eyes and the B Dash, both have ex-wives, and both ex-wives claim to still be married to them, and they were married. This Tight Eyes and B Dash were married in that first cult by arranged marriages.
No, then they're not married.
Well, and Miranda's parents said, like, although they're saying Miranda's married to James B.
Right.
Dash, we don't know if she's really married.
I mean, they could look up if anything's been filed, a marriage certificate.
but do they know where it's been filed? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, her parents went to California to try and get to talk to her, following the TikTok videos, looking at the landscape of where they were doing the dancing, and looking where the water tower was and looking where the greenery was, and they turn the corner and they see their daughter there. They turn the corner and they see their daughter.
Wow.
At another point, her sister Melanie and the parents go to see her because she's performing for 7M at a public performance at Christmas time. And they go there to see her to try and talk to her. And Melanie runs into her sister in the bathroom. And she hugs her sister, and it's like hugging a board. It was not the person that she knew. It's not the person that she grew up with. And it was just this blank slate of a person she was there hugging.
It's just amazing. Like, so who's who in here?
So the
so I have up on the screen, I have the 2 pictures of the, what's her last name?
Wilking sisters.
Wilking sisters.
So the one on the bottom left is Melanie. The middle picture is Melanie on the left and Miranda on the right.
So Melanie got out.
Sisters.
Melanie was never in.
Yeah. She just went to dinner.
Right.
Melanie was never
Right.
in.
Right.
So Miranda has since cut her hair short and turned it blonde. So she doesn't look anything like that picture.
Anymore, no.
And she is supposedly married to James/B-, same person.
Yeah.
And they are allowed to see her. They saw her for Christmas. She came to the house just so she could post on social media.
Yeah, when she comes, she films everything.
She films so she can post that everything's okay. And after, like I said, after this documentary came out, this docuseries came out, she said this is not true because she's brainwashed.
Yeah.
And
she actually went out and put a post on social media and actually said, now my life has been threatened because my parents have done this. People have told me, oh, I'm going to pull up next to you and put you in my trunk and take you back to your parents. My life is now threatened. Stop it. Stop it.
Wow.
So in 2023, he actually had 2 sexual battery cases. This Robert Shinn. The head of the church, the man of God. But they were both dropped, and they were from former members. Former dancers.
so also in July of 2022, Daniel and Chloe, his daughter, left out of the blue. And that is when...
Shinn's kids?
Yes. Daniel was his right-hand man, not his son. Chloe was his daughter. Daniel was his right-hand man for 30 years. July of 2022, they both left. And that is when the 4 dancers, Kevin, Kaylee, what did I say their names were?
I don't know, whatever their names are.
Ernest,
They left.
whatever. 4 of the dancers left. They're like, wait, if his right-hand man of 30 years is leaving,
Fuck
something
yeah.
is going on.
Something's going down.
Something's going on. So in 2022, after the Wilkings parents put the video out, after his daughter and his right-hand man left, all of a sudden people started leaving. And that's also when 2022, that's also when Priscilla left after Hannah, the woman of God, beat the crap out of her and trashed her room. And Robert said that was okay.
Yeah. So there was a group called Stop Culting, okay? And they put in a petition at change.org for the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, like a petition, and you need like 10,000 signatures. They got like 9,000 signatures. But that's like a reaction of like Netflix, TikTok fans that have said, you know what, this can't.
Yeah, like this guy should be in jail.
Yeah, this can't keep going.
But the thing is, I mean, I kind of feel like we've seen these change.org petitions all over the place. Has one ever done anything? I don't know that one has ever done anything. I mean, do we know of any change.org petition that's ever made a difference? I honestly do not.
I don't know.
I really don't.
I don't know.
So
but why is this guy not in jail, especially after this documentary?
Well, because the people are adults and they're saying that nothing is happening and that they're there willingly.
But just the abuse, sexual abuse, just on that alone.
So at this point, Priscilla, first of all, says, I want to sue Robert Shinn. And her sister Melanie's a little bit apprehensive. She's like, I don't think you realize what's going on, what's involved in this. And Priscilla says, listen, I have all these records. I have all these financial documents that shows that they paid me all this money. They made me sign all these blank checks. And then they took all this money out of my account. I have all these documents, so I'm going to go and I'm going to sue him.
I think she was suing for like $4 million.
And not only am I going to sue him, I'm going to go to these dancers that left and I'm going to tell them what happened and I'm going to have them give me their information too. And we're going to include that in a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he'll get taken down.
So
Oh, my
hopefully
God, I
he'll get
hope so.
taken down that way. So in order for them to do a lawsuit like that, you know that you need to be served.
Yeah.
So they could have hired somebody to serve them, but Melanie and her sister Priscilla decided they know how to get him. They can't serve them themselves because they were involved in the lawsuit, but they were there with walkie-talkies kind of stalking him, watching his schedule, and they had people that were their people go serve him this lawsuit, the three of them. Robert Shinn, his brother Matthew, and one other person. I can't remember which the other person is. Was it Isaiah?
For what?
When they served for the lawsuit.
Oh, yes.
It was the
Yes.
three people that they served. So in the meantime, when all this is going on, there's still the Wilking family and Reno's family, Nick Reno's family, is talking to the police. They're like, well, how can we stop this? And they said, well, if there's sexual abuse, then we can get, if you come in and give us statements, then we can go investigate this. But we need more than one statement. So they get one person to come in and say, we were sexually assaulted. Like, okay, we need another one. So they get another person to come in and say, we're sexually assaulted. Then they really wanted Priscilla to come in because Priscilla was there the longest of any of these people that
She
we
saw
know.
the most.
She saw the most, but Priscilla is not in a mental place to do this. At this point, Priscilla's going back to Korea. She's finding her father who abandoned her. She's confronting her father.
Wow.
And she's putting it all out there. Then she comes back from Korea and now she's in a better place and she's a little bit stronger and now she's ready. So she does go to the police station and she does give a statement.
And still that was not enough.
And still not enough. So now we have at least 3 people that have reported sexual assault.
The fucking system is so broken.
And still, there's no investigation. There's still no investigation.
It should be one person that says something and you investigate.
100%. It should be. It should be. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And like I said, I watched this 2 times because I wanted to take notes the second time. But as I was watching it the second time, I'm like, this system in this country, and I've said this so many times,
Absolutely.
is so broken.
It's so broke.
It's so broken.
So broke.
Like these poor families are doing everything they can. To this day, Nick Reno's family is still trying to get him out. They're still sending him pictures. Miranda's still in there. James, we don't know who's fighting for James, but James is still in there. I don't think anyone's fighting for James, to be quite honest with you, because I think James is a part of it. Like
I think
you said,
James is a part of it. He's probably
if
positioning
he's not a
himself to
part of
take
it,
over.
he doesn't know any better because he's got no one else to pull him out. He's got no one there fighting for him.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like they were recruited. B Dash and the other kid, Concrete, they were recruited by the son
Yeah.
of Robert Shinn.
Yeah.
He saw it as definitely an opportunity. He said, oh, you know what? Look, it's, just after COVID, all this TikTok dance shit is really hitting the fan.
Yep.
I met these guys. Let's try and get them. And one has a girlfriend. She's got 3 million followers. Let's try and ride that wave.
Now, where does Ellen fit in? They were on the Ellen show?
They were on the Ellen DeGeneres
show. So I
We're doing
told
a
you.
deep dive on that one.
Well, so I watched somebody on YouTube that said something about, and maybe it was this guy, Kyle Anderson, about how Ellen also had something to do with like these weird fake Ukrainian charities that she was getting people to donate to that had nothing to do with Ukraine. Yeah, it was interesting.
Listen, there's a reason Twitch is gone.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we need to know why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean,
Very
honestly,
sad.
this whole thing is sad. So the first part of the series I told you was Die to Yourself. Part 2 was the escape, which is when Melanie escaped.
Right.
Melanie Lee escaped. So part 3 was called You Reap What You Sow, because Robert Shinn would say that you reap what you sow. And Priscilla said, I want him to pay
reap
for
what
this.
he
I want him
sowed.
to pay for this.
Yep.
But at one point, Kelly, Miranda and Melanie's mom was meeting with Melanie, and Melanie said, listen, I think you're doing this all wrong, because Melanie and Miranda's mom, Kelly, was doing what she had to do to have a relationship with her daughter. So she wasn't rocking the boat.
Right.
And Melanie Lee said to her, listen, by you rocking the boat and shedding light on this when you went and you did your live video, that's what got this to move.
Right.
And if you don't rock this boat and you don't keep pushing,
Right.
you may lose your daughter, but she's in more danger if she stays there.
For sure.
And Robert Shinn is winning if you do this. But as this documentary winds up and it ends with the final part, I mean, Miranda's still in there, Nick Reno is still in there, and James/B- is still in there. And I don't think anything is going to change anytime soon.
I just can't.
It's a shame.
It's
is a
sickening that there's sexual abuse allegations and they can't get this guy.
And it's not even just sexual abuse. Like I said, he is taking all of their money.
It's fraud.
But listen, we've learned through doing these podcasts, that's Hollywood, baby.
Yes, yeah.
Like that's the music industry. That's what's going on.
One of the best comments that I read, and I have a weird sense of humor, but one of the best comments, social media comments that I read.
Really? Eat a dick or eat cake?
Yeah. Was
Not weird at all.
this kid says, from Hungry Epic Boys 8895, I feel like Crump is the weird religious cousin of voguing. I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun to learn. I mean, I didn't know about this crumping or clowning or.
I remember clowning and I don't know why, but I'm definitely still going to watch this because anytime Eric agrees to watch something with me on Netflix, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. However, we tried to watch that reindeer baby reindeer.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that was bad.
It's so bad. Eric, after one episode, was like, I'm out. It was me, Eric, and Tess watching it. After one episode, Eric's like, I'm out. Tess and I got through about 3 episodes, and we were like, we can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely still watch this, but this is upsetting. Very upsetting.
It is upsetting. So I think our next episode, non-Housewives episode, we're either going to do a deep dive into Ellen DeGeneres, or there's a couple other things going on out there. I mean, there's the Celine Dion. There's a docuseries coming out on Amazon about her.
You love her, so
I
we'll
do love
that.
Celine Dion.
We'll do that at some point.
There's also something going on about Billie Eilish. Like there's some documentaries about Billie Eilish and also Katy Perry. So we're going to look into some of these entertainment things and see what's going on because there's a lot going on. I mean, I had shared a video the other day to you guys about Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And then we found out that was AI generated. And that was about Diddy. And you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, and it's just upsetting because this guy, Justin Bieber, like obviously he's been through some shit and obviously Diddy was involved. So for someone to
kind of try and profit off
weaponize it again, like
profit off it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's
because
like disgusting.
that's a clickbait video. You know, people looked at that and clicked on it,
and people are going to believe it. We believed it.
I believed it. I was like, oh my god,
it was AI.
It sounded like Justin. Like, oh my god, this is what we knew.
It's so freaky.
I listened to it and I was like, there's no way this kid said these lyrics. So then I looked into it and I was like, no.
Yeah, and then I started reading the comments when you said that, and I was like, oh shit, this is
and
fake.
You know, this is a big thing, like in all areas. So my boss has a colleague, not an attorney. He's in a whole different field, but he has started using AI for like advertisement, and
that's a whole subject in itself. AI.
Well, so my boss's wife was like, I don't think you should do that because you're basically giving AI the opportunity to make it look like you said whatever it wants you to say.
Absolutely.
And I would never have thought of that. But as soon as he said it, I was like, she is a fucking genius. And she is absolutely right.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
It's very, very, very frightening topic.
Absolutely.
And most people have no clue. No clue the depth and the scope.
Our kids definitely have no clue.
No, because they think it's a homework
ChatGPT
cheater.
is
Right.
exactly
It's just a homework
the greatest.
cheater.
It's like, oh, you have no fucking
idea.
clue what
No
this
idea.
could do.
Maybe that's what our next topic is. Maybe
could
we
do
talk about
AI.
AI and all the things, how it affects, because it does affect a lot of
Everything.
things.
Yes, everything.
And it's
But it's
huge.
It's taking jobs.
But listen, the things are playing out exactly how it was told they were going to be playing out.
I know.
So
How much time do we have?
read your Bible, people.
That's right.
Read
You
your
better
Bibles.
get right with
You
Jesus.
better get right with Jesus. That's all we got to say here on
Wait, do we have
Whatever.
a quote? Do we have an ending quote?
You better
nothing.
get
Come
right
on,
with
you gave me that
Jesus is our
dumbass
quote.
I
would
gave
you
you
rather
the
and no
dumbass-
ending quote?
That's exactly it.
All right, you better get right
She
with
is-
Jesus.
You
That's
better
it.
get right
That
with
is-
Jesus.
that's
That's
our
our
ending
quote.
That's our
quote.
ending quote. You better
Or
get right with Jesus.
whoever you pray
Believe in.
to. Right.
Right.
Whoever you pray to.
Because look,
Right.
there's always somebody higher than you.
That's right.
So shit
And if
rolls
you don't
down,
think it-
shit rolls downhill. So
Right.
whoever your bigger shitter is, you better get right with him.
Bigger shitter.
That's
I
my
don't think
advice
that's
for the week.
English, but okay, we'll go with
That's
it.
We'll go with it. All right. Good night.
It's been a long night.
All right, thank you for watching and listening to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Callie.
And I'm Lori.
Until
Good
next
night.
time.
Eat cake and ride dick.
No!